Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Captain Dad here. Had a really exciting morning. We had to unload this shipping container with this Unimog, and now I got to figure out how I'm going to get it 2 miles up a 4-wheel drive road to my cabin.
Now this shipping container is special. It's called a high cube. It's 10 feet tall, has side open doors, it's 40 feet long, and weighs 10,000 pounds. And the problem is my Unimog, it can only lift 3,000 pounds. And if I exceed that capacity, well, let's just say bad things happen and people can get hurt. Now the good news is my Unimog can tow 17,000 pounds. So I'm thinking if I had 4 wheels on the shipping container, I probably could tow it up this thing. Now let's talk about this road. This is a mining road that was built 150 years ago, and it is a beast. Now this is the narrowest section, and when I measure it, I have at most 6 inches of leeway on either side. And it gets so tight that there'll be points where we really risk dropping off the side of this hand-stacked road and dropping 1,000 feet down to the highway below. So I think the best chance that I got is to fabricate some sort of 4-wheel steering system to pull this up that allows me to go around the road's tight corners. Right now we got a lot of really deep snow. I think I'm going to have to sit on this idea and come up with some plans.
Here's going to be a mock-up of how I think the wheels are going to work out for moving that shipping container.
The idea is to put 2 sets of trailer wheels at each corner on the shipping container, and they'll be able to rotate freely, kind of like a shopping cart wheel. And each one of these axles is rated for 3,000 pounds. Each tire is rated for 1,000 pounds. So if I have 8 tires, I can do 8,000 pounds, no problem. I think I'm gonna offset the wheel though a little bit, or the swivel, so it kind of acts like a giant shopping cart. So the question would be why do you offset it? Well, it takes very little pressure for the wheels to move this way when they're offset from the rotation point. And the idea is I'll be able to push the back end of the container and have the rear wheels swivel for going around really tight corners. So these push up inside the container, and then you rotate the handle and it will lock the shipping container to this flat surface. So what I'm gonna do is weld that onto this surface, and I'll make it level and connect this surface to the bottom of the shipping container. And let me show you what I'm gonna do on the bottom with the wheel swivel. On the underside of the container will be the swivel mechanism. So I just have to drill a hole then into the top and put this in, and I'll just bolt it through those lug nuts on the trailer axle to give it the swivel. And you want to imagine it this way. You can imagine the swivel bolting. I'll drill a hole, this will bolt into here, and then this whole thing locks to the shipping container. Okay, the first thing we're gonna have to do is jack up this end of the trailer, and the ground's pretty darn muddy. So what I'm gonna do is put down some blocking and cribbing and see if we can't get
a stable platform for my toe jack. We jack her up a few inches, and then I'll crib it, take out the jack, put it up higher, keep cribbing it till I get high enough. It's a long, slow process because you can only go a few inches at a time, but we're getting her cribbed up. Jack up, brace, jack up, brace. Let me show you where my design is failing. I'm making this part, I wanted it to be very simple to attach and detach to the container, but the way that these containers are designed is this is the load-bearing member, and I really didn't understand that until I got it off the ground. This is a very thin I-beam, and the way my connection goes to it, we're putting a lot of weight back here on the axle, and I really should have my axle centered underneath the key lock. So I think it's time to rethink this design and to get rid of that twist lock. That was cute for trying to put it on and off really easy, but it's just not going to do the job. It's also pretty sloppy. I mean, if the container was loaded and you need to slack this down on a flatbed, it'd be great. Not going to work. So I have to rethink some things. All right, let's go with take 2 on the shipping container wheels. I'm redoing the way I'm attaching them. I'm making like a direct bolt-on kit that's cut specifically for those shipping container corners. Let me show you what that looks like. All right, so the first thing is I fabbed this up using just some thin sheet that I had just to make sure I get it all right. I'm gonna go dry fit it here in a minute, but I don't wanna cut any of my thick metal before I have it set. The second piece is I had a bunch of these huge 1-inch Acme bolts laying around from another project, and that's what I'm gonna use to connect it to the shipping container. Basically, I'll make a little stub bolt. I'll feed it in from the inside of the shipping container. Then I can turn the key lock and cinch it up, and that'll hold this unit to the shipping container pretty well.
I ended up modifying the whole design just a little bit.
So now, once I get the bolt into position, if it wants to twist, it'll bang up against the top of the container. So to weld these guys together, I'm gonna have to take out material here and here, and then weld in on this corner. So I'm gonna use the plasma cutter to get that out of there. Okay, so these guys just work in, and then once I push them in, I can give them a twist. They lock up, and then I just tighten out these big bolts. This is going to work just fine. Let me just show you real quick what my tow bar design is going to look like for pulling this shipping container. This is the corner attachment for the shipping container. And then I put a hitch pin in, and I have a 45-degree angle coming out for the tow bar. And what I did was I actually used these stub sleeves so that I can cut tow bars to length, just slide in a 5/8 inch bolt, tighten them down, and then I can make my tongue both a little bit smaller for storage, but also I can also make it extendable. At the top of this 90-degree corner here, I have another segment, and I can make this length as long as I want, for as long of a tongue as I want. And so in the future, if I need to tow something that's wider than 8 feet, I can just make these bars longer if I need to, or mock up how I attach it to the whatever I'm towing. All right, guys, tomorrow's moving day, so what I got to do today is prepare for that. Now, I'm gonna have to jack this up. Those wheels are about I think 16 inches, and I didn't want it that high for when I was just test fabbing things. So I'm gonna have to take this toe jack. I brought a lot of cribbing and start lifting this guy up. All right, she's cribbed up and off the ground. I think it's high enough now that we can attach the wheels. My buddy Tony here is helping put them together. And once we get them on, I'll kind of do a walkthrough on some of the features that are in this new version. All right, once you have the clearance set, literally just roll the wheels in and get them in place and fiddle with it a little bit, but it hooks right up. All right, let me show you some of the features of the final version of these shipping container wheels. I modified how it connects to the container, and I put a couple enhancements on it that'll help us steer. So just to review, this unit can go apart in 3 pieces. I can take out this axle shaft here and keep it in place with this bolt. The other thing I can do is disconnect from the top connection plate, and this is what it looks like all assembled. That way it's not too heavy or bulky. The first change that I made was I increased the height on my bolt placement hardware so that when this bolt goes in, it lifts to the top and it won't be able to turn because it hits now on the bottom of this metal plate. All right, so that's enhancement 1. I also used the same size washer that's using inside, so I have the same bite force. The second thing that I added was tow bar hitches. These are plug welded to the side plus a fillet weld. This is really designed to take all of the pull. There's another fillet weld here, and then there's a 5/8 inch trailer hitch. I just wanted to show you one of the features on the rear side is you can lock out the rear with that bolt, but we also have steer bars in the rear for the guys who are gonna help us get around the tight corners. Here's that tow bar hooked up to the pintle. We're locked into the corners on the shipping container. I think we're ready to go shipping container off-roading. Sometimes it doesn't always go as planned. Nobody got hurt, and we can fix it.
Well, we had a 2x4 bust on us and it started to tip, so we're going slowly back and we're gonna go back to line 1. Okay, be careful, I know. We're gonna get that big block out of there. Slow down.
How's the tilt looking?
Doing all right.
Okay, but now we know what the tip angle is. Okay.
Okay, pull that out if you can.
Well, here's the damage from the tilt. It bent the axle. I'm gonna see if I can't straighten this out tonight so I can still schedule my move tomorrow. But if I can't, I'm gonna have to order another one of these spindles. So I'm up early today, driving into my shop in town where I have a press. I don't have anything up here that I can bend that axle back in. So I'm gonna quick run in and do that, get it straightened out, head back, and we're gonna try to move this thing. It is move day. We have the wheels on the trailer. We fixed all the issues that we had. And now it's time to move this thing a couple of miles up this 4-wheel drive road. Wish us luck. All right, you can see we have the crew already getting ready to take off the cribbing off of the rear. When you're trying new things, it's always important that you're open to failing fast. And that's exactly what happened here today. The vertical axles just couldn't handle the swivel pressure. So back to the drawing board, crib it up, make it safe, think of what to do next. So after we slid off the cribbing I was using, I decided to not be such a cheapskate and I went and bought a whole bunch of 4x and cribbed this thing up proper. And I'm gonna have to leave it like this until I figure out what I'm gonna do next with my failed wheel design.
Cabin Dad.